Many thanks for staying with us and welcome back to Politics Today. Remember, you can follow the conversation on Twitter. It's hashtag Politics Today. Share your thoughts with us and we'll have them live on the screen as the program progresses. Well, it's indeed not a very good time for Nigeria. Food prices have skyrocketed. Raw materials, building materials, just over the weekend, the bag of cement surged up from 1,700 naira to 2,500 or 2,200 naira on Monday. And Nigerians asked the question, what's the way out? But the government says Nigerians should take a break, hold their fears, and relax. When things are about to turn good, they'll first of all, when the day is about to dawn, that's when the night is darkest. But are Nigerians that patient? Is the average man on the street going to die of hunger while waiting? Those are the questions that bother in the minds of Nigerians. And the whole world is watching. Economic analysts project the year closing on a very negative note, though they say there's a tendency it could end flattish. That means a tendency of, in as much as it's looking bad, there's a chance to improve if all the leakages are plugged, all the leakages in the economic policies are plugged. But some key Nigerians have been talking on this issue. We'll take a listen to what the former Central Bank of Nigeria governor had to say on the matter to the federal government before we bring in our guest on the program today.
If you want an inclusive development, we must begin to think about how we break out these dynasties of poverty through qualitative but accessible education and health. If the poor doesn't have that, if it doesn't have the skills and therefore to have the capacity to be able to participate in the production process, it will not be able to share in the result of the output. APC needs to come clean with Nigerians. That's my fundamental thesis here. They need to realize that the old Nigeria of rent is no longer. And then, very importantly, explain to Nigerians the agenda, the steps that it hopes to take to go from here to there.
You can't just keep borrowing money and paying salaries, and not building roads, not improving power. And we'll come and see the numbers, the per capita investment in development in Nigeria, the per capita revenues we're getting. And this was all from a resource that was in an enclave economy. And just so that we're not always blaming the previous administration, we have also made mistakes in this administration. We have started retracing our steps, but we have to retrace those steps. And if we fall into the same hole that we fell into the last time, where the government is always right. You know, when the minister is there, you tell them, oh, you know, Honorable Minister, Nigeria is very lucky to have you in office. No, you tell the minister, you're doing well, sir, but, you know, there are these areas where you must change. We are not devaluing, because if we do, the poor people will suffer. You know, the people that were profiting from this were people telling the government that if you devalue, people will suffer. Meanwhile, they all bought the dollars at 197 and priced their goods at 300. The poor paid the price of a devalued currency, the rich skimmed off the profit. And it went on for 1 year. We talked and talked and talked. If this government continues to behave the way the last government behaved, we will end up where Jonathan ended.
Well, that was the Emir of Kano, His Royal Highness Muhammadu Sanusi II, a former governor of the central bank. And before that, we had Mr. Charles Soludo, also a former governor of the central bank. Well, at this point, I'd like to bring in our guest who is in our Abuja studios, Mr. Niyi Akinshiju. He is a member of the All Progressives Congress, and he's also a policy analyst. Many thanks for joining us on the program. Mr. Akinsinju, thank you for joining us. Nigerians, and not just Nigerians on the street, civil liberty organizations and economic analysts have said things are indeed looking bleak for the country. And the People's Democratic Party has come out to say the All Progressives Congress, President Buhari's administration, owes Nigerians an explanation. Should the federal government be looking at coming out at this point to say things are indeed not looking as good as they are, rather than raising the hopes of Nigerians?
Thank you. Well, the truth of the matter is, in different ways, I believe the government has explained its roadmap, especially sectorally. If you're talking about, recently we have the mining, the roadmap, the agricultural roadmap, green alternative, the mining roadmap. There's also the education roadmap. There's the overall economic roadmap. And we would be deceiving ourselves if we don't find ourselves in the situation we are in now. That's the truth of the matter. Don't forget that quarter two 2015, our GDP slowed down to 2.3%. And if you relate that to 2011, our GDP was as high as 7.8%. And over time, our economy actually dipped at different times to 2.3% in 2015, quarter two. Now, what that tells you is that we had a situation already. And that situation was also exacerbated now by the fall in commodity prices, our crude oil. And of course, afterwards, the attack, on pipelines by Avengers and some other elements in the Niger Delta. Now, if you look at the environment, only a very optimistic person would say that we will not get to where we are. But I always tell people, countries will always pass through recessions. Countries will always have inflation. We've had even depression before, but it is about attitude, it's about character. That is what takes us out of such situation. Now, we don't want to go back to what had happened in Nigeria, especially in the last 4 or 5 years, when we had what you call a robust cycle of boom, in our commodity markets. Crude oil price and crude oil production was at its peak. Crude oil price was, from 2010, was $80 per barrel. 2011, $113 per barrel. 2012, $113 per barrel. All through to 2014, when it actually peaked at $114 per barrel. And at that time, we were producing at 2 million plus consistently. Of course, we didn't do anything with that. Now, we have moved to a situation where we need to manage ourselves out of recession. So what we have now is about character and discipline of government and actually the whole of Nigerians. And what am I saying this for? We are 2.6 down. If you add it together, the IMF said we may not, we'll do negative 1.8%. Fortunately, as it is now, we are doing just minus 1.23%. But you can also see government activities now impacting. Their Greek returns on our GDP gone as far as 4.5.
All right,
now,
Mr. Akinsinju, I'd like to, just a moment, please. Just a moment, please. I'd like to take you up on the issue of character and discipline of the president's economic team. Initially, there was a forecast of the second quarter indices coming in positive, and now it's been shifted to the year-end indices looking up. Would you say the president has the right economic team in place with all the direction with the direction the economy is going now?
We can't have a better team, seriously, because even now we are into the third quarter. The third quarter is unveiling, and already we are seeing results coming in. We are seeing more more percentage increase.
All right, just a moment, Mr.
power.
Akinjuju. We'll need to take a moment at this time. When we come back, we'll continue with the conversation. Please hold that thought.